Hi guys, I just got back from having ramen for lunch with Amanda and Fiona from Knit City, and it's made me a little bit sleepy. But I want to record today and talk to you guys about lots of things that have been happening in the past couple of weeks and lots of things that we have planned and that are coming up soon. So I hope you guys will stick with me for this episode. Hi guys, I'm Felicia Lowe from SweetGeorgia Yarns, and we're a hand-dyed knitting yarn company based in Vancouver in Canada. And every Friday, I come here to talk about either things that I'm making for myself personally, things that I'm making for SweetGeorgia at work, or, things that we're working on and events that are coming up and classes that we're building and just all sorts of things that are going on. I try to keep you guys updated and in the loop when we come together to talk about stuff on Friday. So this week has been this week has been a little bit of a decompression week, I think is what is probably the best way to describe it. So these past couple of weeks have been some of the most busy weeks of our entire year. And I'm not entirely sure why this happens every springtime, but springtime seems to be really quite hectic for us. I guess we have inventory count that happens at the end of March. And at the same time, we have Fibers West, which is our local spinning fiber and yarn show. And so that happens near Vancouver as well. So our staff, they take an entire booth load of fiber and yarn and things like that to this particular show. So that's quite busy. And at the same time, I was traveling to Germany for H&H, and at the same time, we launched a spring collection of garments, and at the same time, we also launched a spring knit-along in our Ravelry group. And in the past couple of weeks, we also have launched those fade kits for Joji Locatelli's Fading Point shawl, and so those have been very, very popular. That shawl is beautiful and it is ginormous, and you can see using sort of an ombre effect of 5 different skeins, and you can produce this beautiful large shawl that has color that just undulates and sort of spreads beautifully through the entire project. So that happened a couple of weeks ago. And then also I just recently launched the dyeing classes for School of SweetGeorgia. And so it's just been one after another, pretty much almost every single week. We've launched something new. And this week has sort of been the same. So this past week, we launched our second issue of Make Hue. And so if you have not heard of Make Hue, basically what we decided to do this year was to sort of get off the hamster wheel of blog content production. Like rather than writing blog posts every day or every other day or 3 times a week or things like that, we decided to lump them all together and create themes around them. So it's kind of like a little bit like a magazine. So we created a theme, and each quarter what we do is we're aiming to come out with a sort of a bunch of articles around a theme all at once. And so this past week we launched Make Hue number 2, and this theme for this issue is around the idea of texture. And so all of this is around the idea of not just texture as in like knitting texture and creating cables and things like that, but like texture in all different forms. Like when you think about yarn and fiber and texture, what do you think of? You think of maybe how it feels between your fingers. Is it soft? Is it coarse? Is it rough? Is it harsh? So there's like a tactile idea around how does it actually feel in your hands? And then texture as in, taking something that is basically 2-dimensional. You're taking yarn, which is a 2-dimensional thing. It's like a string. It's actually 3-dimensional, but you know what I mean. It's a line, and you're making this line into a fabric. And so this fabric can take on dimensional properties. You can create things that have pockets of air or things that trap air into them, like through cables or through different stitch patterns and things like that. So texture as you're creating your fabric is also possible. And we think about things like, how yarn is actually constructed and the texture that is created by different spinning techniques, different spinning methods. And we also go into things like I talk about texture in weaving and how to add dimensionality and depth to hand-woven fabrics and things like that. And Charlotte, who's an excellent crocheter, she wrote an entire article about texture in crochet and how to get all over texture, how to get bobbles texture, how to get puff stitches and star stitches, and how to even crochet in a way that produces cables or things that look like knitted cables. I'll show you guys one thing that came out in the past couple of weeks as well, which is a little pattern that we came out with. And this is actually Charlotte's design. And this is also a crocheted cowl, but it looks like a knitted feather and fan stitch. So it looks like it's got these little shells, and this is just a very traditional sort of feather and fan pattern, but it's not knitted, it's made with crochet stitches. And it actually looks relatively easy to do. She's made it here with one of the Party of 5 sets from spring. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors here. And then she paired it with this color here, which is mink. And so this is like just a quick and easy and lovely way to use a bunch of different yarns. You could use this with scrap yarns and things like that. So this is actually really super cute. It's on my list that I want to do more crocheting and learn more crocheting. I think I've been actually quite inspired by seeing a lot of the things that Charlotte's been making and just her ability to crochet and make things very quickly and things like that. And it just seems like a really fun way to play with different colors. And yeah, I want to do more crocheting. And so this pattern might be a great way to sort of do an entree into that, because it's literally just one stitch pattern and you just keep repeating. That's it. You only have to memorize one thing, and then you can just keep changing colors and do what you like with that. Yes. So I was talking about texture and the new Make Hue issue. So throughout this issue, we have sprinkled many little coupon codes for the different kits and things that have come up over the past couple of weeks as well. So if you download the full PDF, basically you can read all of the articles, all of the content in one go, like a magazine. Or if you prefer, you can also go onto our website and just read them like their individual blog posts. And so there's 12 of them this time. Tabitha has also written several articles about using texture in knitting and how to apply that, choosing different yarns, different colors for textured projects and things like that. We also have a shop profile of De Mercerie. That's a knitting yarn shop in Munich in Germany. And one other article that we did that I think was actually very, very interesting is an article that Allison wrote about tuck stitches. And so this is a new book that has come out by Nancy Marchand. And Nancy originally wrote a book about brioche, and brioche has been super popular in the past year or so. It's a great way to combine more than one color and has lots of, different effects that are possible through brioche. And so she's written a couple of books about brioche and leafy brioche, like making leaf motifs with the brioche technique. But this new book that she's come out with is called Tuck Stitches, and it's just another way of using different colors together, maybe like a 2-color project, 3-color project, to create a different kind of texture, a different kind of fabric. And so hopefully you guys can check that out on the website or in the PDF. So yes, that was something else that we launched this week. And then together with that this week, you might notice if you open up the PDF that there is a little blurb about the sparkle cardigan. And so this is something new that's also been launched this week. So Joji Locatelli, she's an Argentinian knitwear designer. She came to visit us last year at the studio. She was traveling for a retreat that she was doing together with Vera Velmaki, and the two of them were traveling through Vancouver and came to visit us at the SweetGeorgia studio. So when Joji was here, she picked up some CashLuxe Spark in our tumbled stone colorway. And so that's kind of like a very neutral beige. It's been like a very, very popular neutral for us for many, many years. And so she got sort of a sweater quantity's worth of this yarn and took it home and designed this beautiful, sweet little cardigan. It's very, very elegant, and it just has very simple eyelets for detail. So you get these horizontal rows of eyelets and just very clean, very minimal, very simple, very elegant. So she came out with this pattern this week as well. And you can find that on Ravelry, I believe. And you can find the CashLuxe Spark on our website, of course. So yeah, hope you guys will download the PDF, and there's a coupon code in there for a little bit off the yarn. So this is really like a week where I want to decompress now. You know, like we've gone through all of these launches. I think that for some time now, I think we're going to be a little bit more settled down. I don't know why all these launches happen at the same time. They just sort of all stacked on each other, and everything sort of happened at the same time. So I think it might be a little bit calm for us for maybe the next 2 weeks. And then in May, we're going to launch something else. In May, we're going to launch the Mini May collection, which is like a collection of 4 patterns that Tabitha has designed. And so those are going to come out in May. But right now, I just want to take a quick little breather, and I want to catch up with myself and relax and just do a little bit of resting. So, as I mentioned in a couple of episodes ago, or maybe last episode or one of the episodes, I have been knitting my sweater. And so I'm through the first part of the yoke. I have finished the first set of leaves. You can kind of see these leaves. Yeah, you can kind of see these leaves. So I was very sort of waffling back and forth about whether or not I should rip this out or just keep going. And so what I did was this trick that I should have done maybe earlier on. But basically I took a photo of this yoke motif with the color work, and I converted it to black and white just on my phone, and just the regular plain old monochrome sort of filter on my iPhone here. And that allowed me to see if there was enough contrast for this to be visible later on once I finished this project. Because when I work on this in the evenings, the lighting is not great. And so when I'm working on it, I'm thinking, no, I'm not sure that I can see these leaf motifs well enough. But I think that in the daytime, if I were to go out, you know, standing back from it, you can kind of see these motifs. You know, it's a beautiful day today. There's quite a lot of sunshine today. So, you know, this is, it's looking pretty visible. I think if I finish, it will be okay. But I'm using this as a learning experience to then figure out what would be better to do next time. And better as in, I want to have more contrast, I want to see more contrast, but I also want to not lose the interesting things that are happening in this colorway. So maybe it was that rather than using lupine as the darker color, I could have used magician and an even darker purple, like maybe ultraviolet or something like that. That would have been maybe a better pairing. So that's something that I'm working on, and I'm just slowly working on it in the car and while we're watching TV. We're watching Billions right now. My husband works in sort of finance, so this is his thing. This is his show. It's his thing. And then the other thing that I'm working on right now is the second sock for Russell. And I am using Kate Atherley's top-down sock pattern from her book, Custom Fit Socks. So yeah, this is really, really great. So I started these socks just before I went to H&H in Germany, and Russell had requested yellow socks because he's quite obsessed right now with construction things and construction workers, and he wants everything to be yellow and black and things like that. So he requested yellow socks. So I used Kate Atherley's Custom Fit sock pattern, the top-down one, and just measured Russell's foot, measured the length, measured around the ankle and all these kinds of things to figure out how many stitches and all that kind of stuff. I believe I'm working on 54 stitches around, and I am not sure that it's gonna fit his foot. And I don't know why. I haven't actually checked. I should just check. I should just get him to put it on and see if this fits. But I have just done the little taper, and I just need to graft the top, and then that sock will be done. And I'm just working on the second one here. Now, one thing that I did get when I was at H&H is we were positioned right behind the Chiaogu booth. And so like I said in a couple of episodes ago, I had switched from a whole bunch of single circular needles to the Chiaogu set that they have, an interchangeable set. And so this is kind of a new thing for me. I was avoiding interchangeable sets for the longest time because I found that the tips were always unscrewing, and I was finding that they bothered me and stuff like that. But this set has actually really been amazing. So I love these needles. I love that they make a sock mini size of these needles, and they are fantastic. They have not unscrewed at all. The only thing is that I don't know if I don't do a very good job at taking care of them, because when they go into my bag, they get dented. And so the cable and the join here, it's kind of dented. And so, yeah, I'm trying to straighten it out where I can, but it doesn't really straighten out. So anyways, so that's that. But when I was at H&H, our booth was back to back with the Qiaogu booth. And so I popped over and I chatted with them, with Leon and Wendy there, and they gave me something to test out. So this is something new that they just launched, and they are called the Twist Short Combo. And so in this package here, there are 4 little tiny needle tips. There's 2 needle tips that are 2 inches long and 2 needle tips that are 3 inches long. And there's also 2 cables. And the cables are each 5 inches and 6 inches. So with these 2 needle tips and these 2 red cables, you can intercombine them, you can mix and match them and make circulars that are either 9 inches, 10 inches, 11 inches, or 12 inches in length, which means that you can start to knit very, very short or very small circumference items with these tiny little circular needles. Like when I knit with magic loop almost exclusively. I'm not a big fan of DPNs at all. So I do everything on magic loop. So that's one big long needle, and I have to pull it out and adjust and all that kind of stuff every round, but it doesn't bother me. I don't mind. But if it does bother you, this might be something that you might be interested in. So you could just knit with tiny little sleeve circumference or sock circumference with these tiny little short circulars. I tried it. I feel like my hands are too big. My fingers are too big. Maybe I just have to get used to it. I feel like there's nowhere for me to hold on, because when I knit, I guess I hold on to the full length of each of those needle tips. I need the full 5 or 6 inches or however much it is. So when it's only 2 inches or 3 inches, I feel like I have very little to hold on to, but I've seen people knit with these and knit super fast with these. So this might be something for you if you are interested in knitting with tiny little circulars in small circumference objects. So that is what is currently in my knitting bag here. So yes, I did recently get this new little pink waffle bag, which is adorable. It has little pink flamingos on the outside, and then it has this sort of nice blue sort of, I don't know, I like it. And then I did also get this bigger pink waffle bag because it has pineapples on it and it's adorable. So yeah, we actually ordered a whole bunch of pink waffle bags, and we were going to put them up in the shop for Sweet Georgia. And it's been so busy. We just have not had time to do it. Like, we got these actually at the end of January, beginning of February, and we still haven't had time to photograph them and put them on our shop site. So if you are at all interested in getting a pink waffle bag, you might just call us or email us and ask us what we have, because we have them. We just haven't put them up on the website yet. So now the other thing that happened is that I mentioned that springtime is like the crazy busy time for us. And one of the busy things that happens at our studio is every spring we do a studio sale. So it's kind of like our spring cleaning sale. It's our one opportunity a year to sort of kind of try to de-stash a lot of the seconds that we build up over the year. Yeah, we make a lot of seconds. We make a lot of seconds because things don't exactly match what we're specifically looking for. If it doesn't fit exactly with the collection that we said that we're going to make, then it's something that we call a second, but there's actually nothing wrong with the yarn or anything like that. So we have this big sale, and a lot of the local knitters will all come, and we're very, very lucky that everybody comes, and they're enthusiastic about it. A lot of people come early. Some people come like an hour early and just hang out. I was actually quite concerned because this year it was pouring rain on the day of our sale, but people still came. And luckily, our team was there early, so they let everybody in and they got to wait in our lunchroom and sit around and knit before the sale actually started. And of course, we opened the doors early to the sale because everybody was sitting there waiting and things like that. So I came to the sale as well. I came to the sale with my kids before we had to go to the dentist and take them to the dentist. But I did come, and I am not immune to yarn shopping. I'm not immune to yarn shopping. And so I did not leave the studio empty-handed. I ended up coming home with this yarn. So this color is a new color that we made this spring, and it's called Fizzy Water. I love it. It's sparkly and it's blue, and there's different shades of blue in here, and there's aquas and purples, and it's a little bit bright. I'm wondering if it will look good on me. I'm not sure that the color is my color. It's not really a winter color. It's more like for a summer. If somebody's a summer, they would be really great in this color. But yeah, I love the color. I think I want to knit with it. I think I want to look at it. I think it would just make me happy to look at it. I want to make a sweater out of this. When I was in Germany, I was talking with Allison, and she turned me on to this sweater called the Zweig sweater. And so it is sort of a top-down sweater as well. The top has some twisted stitches, I think, Bavarian twisted stitches, and some lace in this yoke area. And then the rest of it is just sweater, stockinette sweater. So I was thinking about making that with this for the main body part of it, and either this for the yoke part or this sparkly CashLuxe Spark, this one in linen, this one for the yoke. So either like this or like this. I'm not sure. And I'm not going to allow myself to cast on for the project until I finish the first sweater. So that's that. I want to finish some stuff before I just start something new. I already have another sweater's worth of yarn sitting over there that I want to cast on to knit a boxy, one of Joji's boxy sweaters, but it's the worsted version of the boxy sweater, because I'd like to be able to wear that at Knit City if I can. I mentioned at the very top of this episode that I had just come back from having lunch with Amanda and Fiona, who are the organizers of Knit City. And so Knit City is a knitting festival that happens every fall, sort of like the very, very, very end of September, very beginning of October every year. It's been happening for, I think this year's going to be 6 years now. And every single year it's grown and grown and grown. And we have been sponsors of this event since the very beginning because we just truly believe that Vancouver is a center of knitting and knitting designers and knitting yarn producers, and it is a great place and a highly populated place, and it really needs to have its own yarn festival. And so yes, this yarn festival is amazing. People come from all over to participate in it, to teach at it. Amanda was telling me that all of the instructors on the panel are all traveling into Vancouver to teach. So this is wonderful if you are in Vancouver, because these are oftentimes a lot of instructors that you might not ever get a chance to sort of take classes from unless you go out to travel, unless you go to, say, like Vogue Knitting Live or things like that. So in this case, Amanda and Fiona are bringing these amazing teachers to us in Vancouver so that way we can take their classes. So I'm very, very excited about this event that's going to be coming up in this fall. This year, it's going to be actually kind of a brand new experience because things have grown and changed so much over the past couple of years, and the venue itself is being sort of cleaned up and fixed up, and like last year they got more lighting, and this year they're going to get new paints and all this kind of stuff. So the whole thing is being upgraded all the time. And so for that reason, this coming year, the entire floor plan is going to be shuffled and tossed up because the entrance to Knit City is not going to be the original entrance. It's going to be on the opposite side of the hall. So all of the vendors are going to shuffle and move around, and there's going to be new opportunities for new things. And so one of the new things is that SweetGeorgia, we are going to sponsor a knitting lounge area. So the Knitters Lounge is going to be sponsored by us. And we're still sort of brainstorming what's going to go in there, but we think, a lot of seating area, some comfy places for people to sit and, knit, talk about the things that they bought, or, share things that they're working on, just all sorts of things like that. I also have in the back of my mind ideas about if there's a way that we can do some live streaming there. Maybe we do some live podcasting. Maybe we do something like this over there. I'm thinking about setting up like a corner with some chairs and some, space for guests, space for people to sit down and we can all have a conversation, have it on video or something like that. Because I found that just like a lot of people come into Vancouver to attend Knit City, but a lot of people don't get to see Knit City. A lot of people don't get to participate here. And there's so many amazing things happening that I am sad that people might miss it. So it would be nice to be able to bring Knit City to many of you guys who are not necessarily in Vancouver, or not able to make it to Vancouver. So I just have some ideas about that kind of thing, but I am absolutely totally open to any ideas that you guys might have, anything that you might like to see in a knitting lounge kind of thing at the show, anything that SweetGeorgia could provide, anything that we could help organize, if there's any demonstrations we could do, if there's any live streaming that we could do, if there's anything that we could do that you guys might find interesting. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about this. So it's been a busy several weeks, and now I'm going to go take some time to rest, to knit. It is beautifully sunny outside, so I'm going to go outside for a run, which I haven't done in a long time, but I need to do because I have a half marathon coming up in like 2 weeks. So I have to get outside and do some running. And tonight I also want to look at something a little bit in more depth. And this is something that I just got in the mail, and it is called 51 Yarns. And this book was written by JC Boggs Faulkner. She is the editor and the founder of Ply magazine, if you guys have not seen it. JC is a hero to me in many, many ways. She is incredibly brave and innovative, and she's always sort of been at the forefront of a lot of this movement towards moving spinning and fiber arts into sort of like a new generation. She was like the first person that I saw that was podcasting in the fiber arts, and she's just a force, right? So this is the new thing that she's just come out with, 51 yarns to spin before you cast off. And she's written this very, very interesting book about all the different kinds of yarns that are possible, that you should try. Lots of details and little tidbits and stories about each one of them. And it's been beautifully illustrated by Kirsten Slade. And so I am going to go rest, knit, read this book, and go for a run. If you guys like this episode, please hit like. And if you would like to see more content like this every week, please hit subscribe and you will be notified when these episodes go live. But basically, I try to upload every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's it for this week, and I guess I will see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.